Good afternoon and welcome to your Friday Tonic, the political update. Out of more than 2.5 million voters, only 241,000 decided on who becomes the governor of Anambra State, representing just 10.2%. But INEC is not under any constitutional constraint because there is no upper or lower case limit for the number of voters before results can be announced. However, a lot happened before, during, and after the election. So, we are carrying out a post-mortem as it were, or should I say, remembering Anambra State. Some hailed the process, others questioned it. But for Professor Soludo and the Deputy Governor-elect, they are already in custody of the certificates of return. So sit back as we review the Anambra elections. Let's start with some diplomatic issues. President Muhammadu Buhari says if vaccination is the only way to end the COVID-19 pandemic, a more coordinated approach must be adopted by all stakeholders towards bridging the vaccine supply gap in Africa. The licensing agreements must also be reached for the transfer of intellectual property and technology to support the production of vaccines on the continent. This was while addressing the opening session of the Paris Peace Forum, the French capital.
The administration has capitalized on the strong political and economic ties between both countries to deepen trade relations, retaining Nigeria as France's biggest trading partner in sub-Saharan Africa.
Meanwhile, a call has gone to governments in Africa to come up with practical and actionable recommendations to enhance the political, economy, and social conditions of the people. Vice President Yemi Osinbajo, who made this call at the 51st conference of the Commonwealth Parliamentary Association Africa region, says Africans must start to harness the opportunity provided by post-COVID-19 economy to better the lives of the citizens.
Parliaments are the locus of democracy. The price of liberty, once someone said, is vigilance. But I must say it's not just vigilance, but action.
A united Nigeria is non-negotiable and all hands must be on deck to reorientate Nigerians against pursuing separatist agenda. This came to the fore when members of Team New Nigeria met with the Rescue Nigeria project to share ideas and fuse ideology on how to move Nigeria forward in all spheres of national life. The two groups were unanimous that a new Nigeria where values and ethics are placed above primordial sentiments is possible.
It's only by being one and by being united in one agreed purpose, moving on the same direction, that this Nigeria can be what it should be. And we need to do that.
Some of the stories that we got during the week to the topic at the moment, and that is the Anambra governorship election. And as you can see from the graphics on your screen, 18 candidates contested the election, and Professor, former CBN governor, got the highest score with 112,229 votes of the Abuja. And it was quite unfortunate. Percentage of turnout was just 10.27, and just 241,523 persons out of the 2.5 million came out and decided who governs their population of about 4 million. And just a few hours ago, INEC has presented certificates of return to the governor-elect Charles Soludo and the deputy governor-elect. So what Anambrans are waiting for now is the Soludo's solution to their problems. And it has been an outpouring of congratulatory messages for the governor-elect of Anambra State, Professor Charles Soludo. President Muhammadu Buhari was among the first to congratulate Professor Charles Chukwuma Soludo, the candidate of the All Progressive Grand Alliance ABGA, CMAG's winner in the gubernatorial election in Anambra State. President Buhari enjoins Professor Soludo, member of the Presidential Economic Advisory Committee, to rally other stakeholders to tackle the enormous challenges confronting the state and the Southeast in general. The president looks forward to working with the incoming governor for the peace, security, and development of not only Anambra State, but the entire country. Also, the Minister of Labour and Employment, Senator Chris Ngige, has congratulated the winner of the November 6, 2021 Governor Anambra State governorship election, Professor Chukwuma Soludo of the ABGA. Senator Ngige, in a goodwill message by his media office Wednesday, congratulated the former governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria for a resounding victory in the poll, saying it is a victory well-deserved. He said, India Anambra have spoken with this resounding victory, having contested in 2010 with Soludo, who was then the PDP candidate, and myself in ACN, an election in which I was awarded the second position, even though I won outright, and Soludo third. I knew that with his tenacity of purpose and drive, he would one day make it to the seat of the governor of Anambra State. On a rather different note, the Senator Andy Oba campaign organization has rejected the result of the just concluded Anambra State governorship election as declared by the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC. In a statement, Ambassador Jerry, spokesperson of Senator Andy Oba campaign organization, describes the outcome of the election as a charade and did not reflect the wishes of the people of Anambra State. The statement adds that the APC governorship candidate, Senator Andy Oba, is a victim of alleged widespread electoral fraud and manipulations. The statement appeals to APC supporters to remain peaceful and calm and promised not to relent in pursuing what they described as a stolen electoral mandate within the limits of the law and all constitutional means. That is the situation in Anambra State. And with me in the studio is the chairman, the national chairman, Inter-Party Advisory Council, Leonard Nzewa. Welcome to Political Object.
Thanks for having me on the program again once more.
Yeah, we were here before a day or two to the election, and you observed the process and back to Abuja. Some commending the process, others not too comfortable with it. As the chairman of all the political parties in the country, how do you see the process, your assessment?
I would say it's a good one for Nigeria because it went very peacefully. Politics is like a game, like a football game. You have a winner, you have a loser. This time a loser has emerged. And what the winner did was he was better in the politics, he was better in the politicking, he was better in the politricking. So if we look at these dimensions of the politics sphere, the winner appears better on that dimension. So I use this opportunity to congratulate the ABGA. I also use the opportunity to congratulate Professor Soludo, who we know his pedigree, who is saying he has a solution for Anambra people. So it's time for the troop to rally around him and see how we can move Anambra forward. Essentially, there are a whole lot of things we need to talk about this election based on expectation of stakeholders. We need to be very clear. In terms of awarding marks, I would say very clearly the Edo election was better than what we had in Anambra State. And that is very understandably because the road to Anambra election was peddled with a lot of uncertainty. You have stakeholders who were very, very apprehensive, but because the might of the state and the people of Nigeria felt it was a time for having an election and nobody should stop it, we had to go into that election. Of course, you were there, I was there. You saw what transpired. I would tell you for a start that this is the most militarized election in recent time in Nigeria. We have an amount of security positioning themselves across the length and breadth of that particular state. And so what we saw was a people under the web of fear. And so on one hand is the might of the state reflected by the boots on the ground from the state, here represented by the army, the police, and under security apparatus. On the other side is those I would describe as the aggressors, the non-state actors who were bent actually on trying to see how they can also turn things around. And so who are very adept in guerrilla antics and guerrilla warfare. So when you have the state's security architecture on one side, you have the non-state actors on one side. The people at the middle is actually those who wants to vote, and they were scared stiff. So anybody that is scared stiff will not want to come out to risk his life. That also may have accounted why this election experienced the kind of low turnout we have. Now, on the other hand, the election was peaceful. Peaceful in the sense that against expectation where people were scared that it's going to be crisis ridden. We saw a high level of peace around, because I took walk around most of the local governments as the election was going on, and I saw it was peace. What you see was much more presence of military and the police handling several outposts. Now, on the other hand also, we had very high voter apathy. Of course, if you had followed our engagement with INEC, we did caution that this election might, at the end of the day, voters might not turn out the way expected. And now here we're getting less than 10%. Less than 10%. Where you have that against vis-a-vis the resources that has been put into an election, it's not a win-win situation for any person.
Okay, so now the deed is done already.
Yes.
Going forward, that is why we caption this our episode as post-mortem. Let's even first also during the presentation of certificate of return, he said INEC we're going to review the process and see areas they can work on. So going forward, what do you think INEC should do, and probably the government, in terms of security and mention like the beavers, the experience?
Okay, one of the things I'll tell you INEC should do this time as a stakeholder, I'll tell you, INEC was pretty over optimistic. It's like when you've won matches over and over again, you're going into a fresh match, you think you can also win. I think there's this level of high expectation on the part of INEC that we're going to deliver. That is one thing. So they took it for granted. Now, the second thing is that the technology is the way to go. And we're very comfortable. All Nigerians have praised the Electoral Act and the transmission of electronic results. Now, but we need to caution, because devices or equipment do fail from time to time on account of the way it is operated, or something beyond the individual is operating it itself. So we had a situation where most of the tools, specifically the beavers in Anambra, failed woefully. And that is quite also understandable, because they never had the robust test of this particular equipment before they go to the field. So what we would expect now is that the off-cycle elections that is going to happen, or that will take place in various states in the next few weeks, those equipments, those devices should be put to robust use in these places to perfect their capability and capacity to deliver. That is one of the things they do. The other thing they need to do, they need to look inward and also review how prepared are the staff of INEC in this particular challenge, because the expectation is going to be very high now based on what has happened in Anambra. People will be looking, all eyes will be on INEC to deliver. So they've got to go back to rejig and retool and also rekit the staffers of INEC to meet up with these challenges. Also, there has to be another blueprint on how to relate with all stakeholders. Because what we saw in Anambra was the rigging. Rigging is tamed. From what I saw, I can say confidently rigging is tamed. But what has persisted is high vote buying and voter apathy. Now, the kind of vote buying that took place is actually what we've been calling see and buy. That see and buy is what is pretty difficult to check. Check in the sense that the people are very smart. Anambra is the most expensive election. People who even prepared before the election, they thinking they were going to make some impact. At the end of the day, found out that that's last day, that what it was required to deliver, that was money. So what you see was literally, people were purchasing votes. Okay. And that's the see and buy thing. So we've got to find a more creative way to work on this and settle it, because if that persists in our political electoral system, it will have negative impact.
Okay, we'll still come back to you, but let's take this brief reports, because situation rooms have already started giving their own reports. With the conclusion of the Anambra State governorship election, there was the need for civil society groups, election observers, and other stakeholders to carry out a post-election review of the conduct of the election. The review of the recent governorship election was to take what positive lessons can be from the election as the country inches towards the Ekiti and Osun State governorship elections 2022. Let's take a listen.
Upon, to deliver efficiency in its use for the accreditation process. Situation Room calls on INEC, to make necessary efforts to adequately prepare for the off-cycle elections holding in Ekiti and Osun, as well as the 2023 general elections. Where the Commission finds that it is unprepared to hold an election, it should result into alternatives within the limits of the law to decide on the best course of action. The incidence of low voter turnout is an issue of serious concern in Anambra and Nigeria as a whole. Election stakeholders need to critically interrogate the diminishing rates of citizens' participation in the electoral process with a view of overturning this trend. And we are saying, if we believe in one vote, one count, I think at the end of the day, citizens will believe more in the process. If you know that your voting will count, definitely they will believe in it. So voter trading has continued to feature in Nigeria's elections and will remain if perpetrators go unpunished. This brings to light the imminent need to establish the National Electoral Offences Commission to prosecute electoral offences.
It's also to end your line of argument.
Exactly.
Well, so now she is advocating for a special court. But in this case, Anambra State, I think it was relatively peaceful, though we have the issue of the low voters turnout. So do you think such issues should be also incorporated in the Electoral Act, though it has already been passed, if it's not there already?
You do know that the Electoral Offences Commission bill, I think at this stage is with the president, if I'm correct. These are part of the things that have been looked into in that particular commission. What is important is that this aspect that has to do with vote trading, vote buying, or see and buy is a very disturbing phenomenon in Nigerian politics. And why I say that is because I saw it firsthand. I have not seen it in this magnitude. And the Anambra election is a congregation of billionaires in political rumble. So when you come to money, you see that the people that are actually contested in Anambra are billionaires. I mean the top runners. So it was a money thing. But at a point, even the big money bags, like 2 or 3 of them told me, look, they can't continue with this. The kind of money that are being spent, they can't be able to buy votes and all that. So this has been captured in the Electoral Offences Commission bill. It's there because I've reviewed a couple of them, all that. What has got to happen is for the Mr. President to go ahead and assent to that particular bill, let the commission start functioning, and let Nigeria be very diligent in this aspect that has to do with, vote buying. You cannot also completely exonerate Nigerians, even though it is a moral thing. Elections is a window for people who think that is a period for them to make some kind of money. There's going to be a whole lot of reorientation, and that is where the National Orientation Agency will have to come in. People think that during election is when money will flow, and that's when they come. So in Anambra, even if, just sorry to say this, if you have your mother and you do not give him money on that the election is happening, she will not vote for you. That is literally what it is all about. And so it's a money exchange thing that happened in Anambra, and we've got to punish this kind of unwholesome behavior.
Okay, you are like the father of all the political parties because you are the national chairman of Inter-Party Advisory Council. And from the previous reports and statements, at least even the PDP governors candidates and the YPP, the president, the Minister of Labour and Employment, who is a member of the APC as well, at least congratulated the governor-elect. It's a sign of resilience and accommodation and sportsmanship, that spirit of sportsmanship. But here we have a candidate indirectly challenging the process, though he's free to do so. As the chairman of IPAC, what advice will you give?
I will tell you that this is a football match. This is a high-stake football match. There's no need to cry over spilled milk. I've told you something. I said, in terms of politics, in terms of politicking, in terms of politricking, this candidate was better. Now, let us not take it. We need to also understand the pedigree of Charles Soludo. Of course, he's an eminent scholar. He has what it takes. Now, in this match, what has happened is that the better candidate won, like in a football match. At this particular match, he is the better candidate and he won. That's the way we need to take it. 2, the candidate of the APC has a right to also call to question some of the things that happened. It's within the limit of his right, so he can do that. But what we also need to know, because I heard them saying that is one of their permutation is around that several persons, they come from the Abuja, they come from PDP, they come from other political parties to APC. And on account of this, the campaign that it naturally will flow and translate into voting for them. Now, well, I've heard them say that it's a carcass Abuja. That's the way it was described. Carcass Abuja cannot defeat a full option loaded APC. That is just my understanding of what is happening. Now, I will tell the candidate to calm down. That is an election. The winner has emerged. He has lost. For the Inter-Party Advisory Council, we have sent a congratulatory message to the winner of this election. We've also sent a congratulatory message to Abuja itself that won the election. So I think Nigeria should be better sportsmen, political sportsmen. We have to move on. Let's this issue of litigation that takes up resources and misdirect governments. Let us see Anambra has suffered. We need to understand how we got to this point. Several lives were lost. Let us allow peace to reign in Anambra, and let's see how the Soludo solution will now come at play. But that does not mean that if Soludo goes wrong in terms of administering that state, the IPAC will come after him, as well as other political parties will come after him. For now, he has won. Let us give him a breather for him to be sworn in, and let's see what he's going to do for Anambra. Would have suffered so much in the last few years.
We have given so much time to the Anambra politics. Before we go, the Electoral Act has been passed. Yes. Probably any moment from now for presidential assent.
Yes.
So, direct primaries for your people. How comfortable is your constituency?
I need to tell you, it does not settle down with any political party. It does not settle down with any political chairman of political party in this country. And it does not even settle down with the electorate. I think this is a clear ambush to smoke out younger political party from the political space. And this cannot continue. It's simply impracticable. The point is this: why would you introduce the Athenian Greek democracy back in the year 2021 in Nigeria? It doesn't happen. It's simply impracticable. And so if you want to get the Athenian democracy that even has limitation, such limitation has to do with you must be 20 years of age before you become an Athenian to cast your vote. Apart from that, there's what they call sortition. That sortition arrangement in the Greek era was a period like what you call now a jukebox. A lucky box. If you roll the box and you win, you can now contest election. That was what happened in the Greek time. Now, in 2021, some lawmakers think it is reasonable, it is best practice to introduce direct primary into our Nigerian electoral election. It's very bad. First, INEC will be choked. INEC will be choked because they won't have the capacity. 2, the political parties do not have the infrastructure. 3, the funding required is massive. 3rd, I see a lot of litigations coming. Somebody that is in Adamawa that never attended any of these things will rise up and put a court an injunction restraining the party not to do this. It's kind of.
But you are very comfortable with the e-transmission of.
Fine, that's it.
So
that's
then
it.
Probably 1-1 for you. You have to go for the turn match.
Well, we'll sort that out.
The chairman of IPAC, Leonard Nzenwa, has been my guest, and quite an informative moment with him. That is the much you can take on today's edition, Political Update. Always remember to get your COVID-19 vaccine. Countdown to 1st of December is still on. And if you are a federal civil servant, prepare to get access to the office, or you'll be locked out of the office. Thank you.